Heavy showers hit the Circuit de Catalunya on Friday, and with the forecast for more of the same on Saturday, the teams took to the track for a crucial day of preparation. Red Bull, in contrast to their Monaco fortunes, looked comfortable out on circuit, with Christian Horner stating the team decided to go back to a more downforce-oriented setup that they had used in 2018, despite their 2019 Challenger being built fundamentally for low drag. Meanwhile, a team that was looking a little nervy were surprisingly Audi. Sebastian Vettel even jokingly said in his press conference that the Ferrari car looked more stable in the wet conditions, which had some truth to it, as Audi found themselves in the bottom half for Sector 3 split times. Their engine may be worlds ahead of everyone else, but it's good to remember this is only their second season in Formula 1, and maybe their chassis development still has some catching up to do. Whatever the reason, the paddock seems to be licking its lips on its return to Spain. Taking a look now at the starting grid for today's Spanish Grand Prix from the Circuit de Catalunya, it is a Red Bull on pole, with Antonio Giovinazzi very happy about that pole position here in Spain. Alongside him, Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, starting from the front row, very happy about that. Then comes Nico Hülkenberg. Speaking of happy, the Renault team thrilled with that result, starting alongside Max Verstappen on the second row of the grid, keeping in mind 4 different cars in the top 4 positions. Then we've got the second Red Bull of Pierre Gasly, starting from 5th position, alongside Carlos Sainz, way down on the 3rd row of the grid in his Audi car. Stoffel Vandoorne for the Jaguar team will start from 7th position, alongside former world champion Lewis Hamilton in the McLaren on the 4th row of the grid. The other Renault of Delatraz happy to be in the top 10, alongside Arab, who got beaten by his teammate and who will round out the top 10. In 11th position comes Pascal Wehrlein driving in the other Mercedes. He's joined by Sergio Perez down in 12th position, quite a ways off of his teammate and quite a ways off of pole, and Daniel Ricciardo in the other Ferrari right behind him. Those two guys very disappointed with their qualifying. Kevin Magnussen in the McLaren as well in 14th, not happy with that result. Romain Grosjean will start as the lead Haas today from 15th position, alongside Mick Schumacher in the Force India in 16th, whose teammate starts just behind him from 17th position. Esteban Ocon getting the better of Valtteri Bottas in the Williams car, who starts from 18th position. In 19th is the other Haas of Sergei Sirotkin, who does get the better of the Williams driver Camara. And once again, as per usual, it is the Alfa Romeos at the back, but just a couple of tenths off the rest of the field.
What's going on, guys? Aaron here, and welcome back to my F1 My Driver Career Mode, episode number 6 today for the Spanish Grand Prix. If you did miss episode number 5, uploaded last Friday at the Monaco Grand Prix, do go check that out. I probably pulled off one of my all-time favourite overtakes on this game so far since it came out in that race at Monaco, so do go check it out. But I need to say a huge thank you for the support on that one, because it was literally out of this world. I think it got over 1,000 likes within like 4 hours, and then you guys smashed 2,000 like over the weekend. It was insane. Obviously, it was a really awesome race as well, but it's just awesome to see the support still going strong. You know, we're getting to episode 6, nearly, 2 episodes away from halfway through the series, and the support is still strong as ever from episode number 1. So thank you guys so much for that, and do go check it out. Uploaded every Friday. I just want to emphasize that again. Every single Friday, no other day. I'm still getting some people who are confused in the comment section of other videos about that. It's uploaded every Friday. But anyway, let's get into this. The Spanish Grand Prix, a very mixed up grid today for the race, so it should be an absolute cracker. So let's get straight into this then. We go to 5 red lights at the Circuit de Catalunya for the 6th round of this season. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway for the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's a decent start from us, a great start from Delatraz, a horrible one from my teammate Stoffel Vandoorne, as we both jump up one position there, trying to go side by side with the Renault car. On the right hand side, we've got Perez, who had a very poor qualifying, coming down our inside with that Audi engine powering past us into turn 1. We're down to 10th place now, so nearly back to our original position really from qualifying, but we're going to try and hang it round this corner, see what we can do. Perez makes some contact with the Renault, but then wow, he jumps up 2-3 positions there, stormed off that corner. Hamilton bogged down mid-corner, and Gasly as well. Now we're going to try and hang it down the inside of Hamilton. Didn't quite work, so we're going to tuck in behind now. But you can see Delatraz still lurking around behind me, so that Renault looking very, very punchy at the moment. And Vandoorne has lost a further 2 positions, so my teammate not doing too well so far in this Grand Prix. But what can we do? We're still behind Hamilton, but we should get a good run up this corner through the right-hander. Lift off a little bit, then slam down the throttle on the exit. And can we get a good enough run? Looks like Hamilton's got some issues maybe. He's going a little bit slowly. There's quite a gap to Gasly there. We send it down the inside. Looks like he's been caught napping a little bit, but he'll hang it around the outside and keep it side by side with us. But we just about get it there on the entry to the next section. But you can see up ahead, we've got the Mercedes car battling the two Audis. I think that might be Verstappen, I think, trying to fend off both Audi cars. Obviously, both Audis, poor qualifying for them in the wet conditions, so they're trying to make up positions and get a move on. So Verstappen's trying to do the best job he can to try and hold them off as long as he can. But here we go, trying to make a move now on towards lap 2 on Gasly. We get caught up on his rear end a little bit, actually, so the FIA will warn us for a collision, but just a little bit caught up as we move to the right-hand side. But now we can make the clean pass down the inside, side by side, banging tyres a tiny bit there, I think, maybe in the mid-apex of turn 1, but then through turn 3, just trying to plant the power, and we just about make it and squeeze Gasly out, and he's lost the front end a little bit. You can see his car was weaving about as he got in my dirty air, but that was fair enough from us. We had the room. He wasn't alongside us anymore, so I just cut onto the racing line. And so now we find ourselves up in 7th place behind 6th place man Verstappen, who has been overtaken by both Audis. So he was a bit unsuccessful at trying to defend from both of them, but you would expect that maybe. I mean, we saw last time out, a lot of you guys were actually quite surprised at how OP the Audi engine was at Monaco, and it just is that powerful, really. And so that means as we move into lap 3 here, Verstappen has to try and defend from us, but it's a pretty much a lost cause, because we go right past him and we make that move even before we get to the brake zone for turn 1. So quite surprised there that we actually breezed past the Mercedes car. And so at the moment it looks like we don't have not too shabby on the straight line speed, something we usually lack so far this season. But out in the lead at the moment, let's give you a little update. We've got Antonio Giovinazzi still leading this Grand Prix off pole position. Then second place is Nico Hülkenberg, who overtook Sebastian Vettel off the start in the opening stages of the Grand Prix. So he's doing a fantastic job in the Renault car to be in second place. And the Vettel also similarly doing a great job to keep it in third place there. But then you've got the two Audis chasing close behind as we move on to the end of lap 3. Now looking behind us is Verstappen now again struggling for straight line speed and just momentum off that final corner. And he's now got Pierre Gasly with DRS trying to challenge him. And here goes Gasly again, similar to me, but this time with DRS. Verstappen's even got DRS off me, and yet he's unable to defend too much from Gasly as Gasly sends it down the inside. Around the outside, he'll go into turn 2, and he's made that pass. So the Red Bull car is looking pretty damn slippery and very, very good so far at the Spanish Grand Prix. Probably Giovinazzi more so than Gasly, though, as he's still leading the Grand Prix. As we move on to lap 5 then, 2 laps later, and we've got the two Audi cars finally catching up to the Ferrari car of Vettel. And Vettel, to be fair to him, defends quite well and even tried to make a pop to get third place back, but it's no use for him. So that will be Sainz up into third place. Vettel now slots in 4th in an Audi sandwich there of Perez then in 5th place, and we're chasing behind in 6th place. You can see though Gasly's now closing up to us, so this entire pack is sort of closing up, kind of, you know, it's like one big lump behind Giovinazzi and Hülkenberg, so it could get quite tasty soon. But we move a bit later on down the order on lap 5 this is, and you can see both McLaren cars, especially Hamilton, struggling here, being overtaken by the likes of the Alfa Romeo. He's got the Haas car right behind him. He's already been overtaken by one of the other Haas cars, I think of Sorokin there. And you've got Magnussen also coming to the clutches of that Haas car. So both McLarens, again, like in Monaco, if you remember back to the last episode, having some sort of electrical fault, maybe deployment with their engine, with a Honda power unit, because they're just going very, very slowly at the beginning of this Grand Prix. It's a very odd thing that McLaren have had ever since the first race of the season. They've had that. I remember in USA, round number 1, they had that same electrical deployment issue, which they're able to sort mid-race, but it just keeps cropping up and really hinders their performance so far. But anyway, getting back to us, we're now finding ourselves right behind Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, last year, our main title rival, the reigning world champion at the moment in the Ferrari car. We sent it down the inside to try and overtake him for P4. This will be, he's going to keep it around the outside. This will turn into the inside of the next corner. We go a little bit deep there, and also I think there's a bit of contact made on the side pod, and so that allows Vettel to still keep it through for 4th place. We bang tyres, smash the left front tyre actually against his front right, so we tuck in behind for the high-speed chicane. And now what can we do? Up the hill, we'll get DRS now the next straight. So we've got a great drive off the corner, so even before we open DRS, we're alongside him. But can we hang it around the outside? A bit of an orthodox place to make a move, but at the same time, Sainz is having to defend from Perez. It looks like Perez has sent it down the inside of Sainz ahead of us, as we're still going side by side with the German through this entire long right-hander. And up ahead you can see the two Audis are still doing the same as well. But we just about get it here on Vettel, but the two Audis are still going hammer and tong. Great stuff between the two cars. Rivals, obviously, with the best car on the grid. Yellow flags. Wehrlein's out of this race behind us. Smoking, I think that was. Engine failure for him. I have to give back the position to Perez because there was a yellow flag, unfortunately. And now a safety car has been called out. We give back the position to Perez. But now look at this. Vettel just pit then, I think that was. My teammate also maybe. And I think all the people that literally just made a pit stop then, a scheduled pit stop for their normal, you know, they were going to come in from the soft tyres, are now going to gain massively from that safety car. They're going to get a huge free pit stop, whereas we aren't. Myself and the two Audis aren't. But we look at the replay here, and this was Wehrlein. We saw a glimpse of it as I look back on my POV, but here's a third-person camera view. Wehrlein out of this race with an engine failure. Unfortunate for him because the Mercedes cars really have had great reliability so far this season. But you can see moving on to lap 8, and only now are me and Sainz and also the Renault of Hulkenberg coming in. And actually, it's my teammate coming in on the same lap. So Van Dorn, I thought, may have come in the previous lap, but no, he's going to come in on the same lap as me. So unfortunately for Stoffel, he's going to have to double stack with us. But the likes of Vettel and maybe even the other McLaren of Magnussen, I think it may have been, or Hamilton, whoever pit in on that exact lap Wehrlein caused the safety car, that is going to be such a benefit for them because they've got such a free pit stop compared to us where we've gone an entire lap under that delta time of the safety car. And you can see, look at that, yeah, there you go. You saw the brief shot of Hamilton going through. He's overtaken us in that. And remember, Hamilton was struggling being overtaken by Haas cars and the Alfa Romeo. So Hamilton has gained about, I would say, 5 positions there just by pitting straight under the safety car. Obviously, he was behind Wehrlein when his engine blew up, so he got the luck there of going straight into the pits, whereas I'd already crossed the line. I thought I was going to be overtaking Perez as the safety car came out. So unfortunate for us, it means we find ourselves in P14. It's not like other people have loads of pit stops to make. So really, we need to get a move on. And now, look at this. Magnussen's going to try and make a move now on towards lap 11 as we've restarted from the safety car period. Didn't get the best getaway from the safety car period. And it looks like, to me, McLaren, like they have previously, I mentioned it before, looks like they've fixed their electrical deployment because Magnussen steamed past me. No DRS involved there. But beforehand, Magnussen and Hamilton were getting swamped by Haas cars and Alfa Romeo. So, looks like the Honda Power Unit, they've sorted out whatever it was. I think it's still an electrical problem that just keeps hampering them for like a portion of the race, and then they get it fixed somehow mid-race. And it's happened to them a few times so far. But anyway, now we move on to lap 12, and we are getting away from Magnussen. We're actually getting swamped by the Renault, and Perez out of nowhere comes down the inside. But actually, look at this. We do so well to swoop around the outside. A little bit of contact with Perez, but we managed to defend from both those cars and keep it in P15. But yeah, it looks like Perez, another man who was caught out by the safety car period and is down the order. And look at this, he tried to make a move down the inside again, had a look, but we keep on defending quite well from him there, and so we keep that P15. But we're Magnussen getting away from us, unfortunately. But now as we move into lap 13, we're just going to take a look at the race leaders here. Antonio Giovinazzi still leading the way in the Spanish Grand Prix from Sebastian Vettel in second place, Pierre Gasly in third place. So the two Red Bulls, 1 and 3, fantastic pace in this opening third of the Spanish Grand Prix, followed by Daniel Ricciardo. And then you've got this little 4-pack of the Alfa Romeo, Williams, Haas, and McLaren of Hamilton. And all 4 of these cars jumped everyone else in the safety car period. They jumped Sainz, they jumped Verstappen here, and then you've got this secondary pack of the Williams of Seta Camara, Magnussen, I think that's Schumacher and Hulkenberg. So that 4-pack just behind the Mercedes car of Verstappen there, and that's the pack we're trying to chase down. And so on towards the end of lap 13, Magnussen's overtaken the Williams car. So now we're going to try and do the same, but out of nowhere again, Perez, like an absolute ninja with that engine, powers past both of us like it probably didn't even stress out his car at all to go down that main straight and overtake us. So he's up into 14th place. We tuck in behind for 15th, but we've overtaken the Williams car at least, so we didn't lose a position really. We gained 1 in theory, but we're going to try and maybe re-overtake Perez if we can. The Audi cars have been struggling all race weekend long in Sector 3 and generally in some of the high-speed corners, just showing that even though Audi do have this amazing engine, remember, they only came into this sport last year. they still have work to do in their chassis. You know, obviously they vied for this V8 engine change because they knew their engine was going to be this powerful, much like Mercedes did in 2014, but, you know, their chassis is still not up to scratch, so I think we can maybe try and re-overtake Perez, especially if he gets held up here behind Magnussen. He's going to go for a move, perhaps, onto lap 14, into Sector 3. No, he gets caught napping, and look at this, exactly what I was talking about. We go down the inside, and we overtake him, and we're up into P14. And so now we find ourselves back behind Kevin Magnussen in that orange McLaren. Can we try and re-overtake him? It's been a few laps since he overtook us, and he got away from us. But into Sector 3 here, towards the chicane, getting held up by Hulkenberg here, caught napping a little bit as well. Sends it out, send it down the inside, and we've made that move up into the P13. So Magnussen really got caught out there, and someone else is coming to the pit, so we'll be up into P12. Up ahead of us, down the main pit straight, Mick Schumacher makes a move on Max Verstappen, but back to us, we've got Magnussen and Perez on either side of us, overtaking us, so 3 wide momentarily there. We try and swap it down the inside, doesn't work, so we actually stick behind Magnussen and Perez, so we're back down to P14 now. Can we try and hang it round the outside, maybe swing round for this switchback line down the inside now of Sergio Perez, but his engine then helps him get it through, so we have to stick behind him. But up ahead, look at that, in the distance you can see Mick Schumacher has overtaken the Renault car and Max Verstappen there, so doing a wonderful job in that Force India. You can see we're still trying to fight Perez. We've taken a wider entry line that allows us to actually get better drive off the corner, and so can we try and challenge Perez into the chicane, under braking, slam it down the inside, and we'll just about make it through. Little tiny drift on the exit for good measure to stop him coming back at us, and we're up into P13. P12 actually, someone else is in the pits now, and up ahead Magnussen makes the move on Verstappen, so Verstappen is really struggling quite a bit in this Grand Prix. I wonder if the Mercedes guys have turned down his engine after Berline's engine failure. Maybe the Mercedes guys, I'm surprised, quite surprisingly, are having reliability issues now, because they've been so bulletproof actually in this season so far compared to every other team, McLaren, Audi, Red Bull, all having engine failures. Mercedes have been the ones that have kept it reliable for most of the time. They've only made some mistakes in terms of their race strategies. And so it definitely looks like to me Mercedes have maybe turned them down, because he's really going down the order now, Verstappen. And up ahead now, Magnussen making even more overtakes, goes down the inside of Fuoco there in the Alfa Romeo. So now can we try and get the move on him? So I'm sort of using Magnussen really as a little bit of a tow kind of pulley system here to drag me through all these cars as well. So you can see we've made the move on the Alfa Romeo. So I'm just kind of sitting back here, watching Magnussen overtake another car, and then I just use that, the fact that Magnussen would have squeezed that other car out, to overtake them as well. But now onto lap 18, we're going to overtake the man himself, Magnussen, as he gets caught up by Bottas there. We get a great drive off that final corner. Again, taking a wider line, but you get a tighter cutback, so you get a much better exit off that corner. And now looks like we'll have a great opportunity to overtake Valtteri Bottas then for what will be P6. DRS wide open. He's got DRS as well, but we'll make the move down the inside, go very deep, go a little bit wide to push him wide to make sure we get that move done. And we're up into P6, and Magnussen actually nips it down the inside to get it up into P7. But now we're closing up on what will be Schumacher finally, and he's been doing some absolute bits up ahead, overtaking Verstappen, the Renault with ease. He comes into the pits though, so we don't actually have a chance to unfortunately battle him. Would have liked to. Haven't had a battle with Schumacher yet so far this season. Would like to. It seems like he's very up for it. Very up for it. Especially in Monaco, if you remember, doing some great stuff there as well. But now we're up into P3 now as people are making their pit stops now. We're on hard tyres, remember, as I mentioned before, so we can go a lot longer than everyone else. So by lap 20, we're up into P2 now, as Ricciardo finally makes his pit stop onto the hard tyres, and so it's left only to be me and Gasly up here. Gasly in P1 at the moment on medium tyres, and we'll just kind of basically take this set of tyres as long as we can, try and stretch them out, because the tyre wear is looking to be actually really quite high here at Spain. So the longer we can take this set of tyres, the better. And so on to lap 21, the very next lap, Gasly finally comes to the pit. So now we are leading the Spanish Grand Prix. Obviously not officially, because by the time we make our pit stop, we'll go down the order. But it's nice to know we're leading the race, at least for now. We've got some nice clean air to actually do this work on the prime tyres, on the hardest compounded tyres, and try and stretch them as much as we can. And so as we move into this tyre saving phase of the Grand Prix, for me at least, on the prime tyres, let's just take you through some of the running order. So we've got Giovinazzi now in second place behind us, so he'll be in the net first place. He's on the hard tyres. Similarly, Gasly on the hard tyres now in the net P2, so he's overtaken Vettel and all of that. He was behind Vettel previously, if you remember. So he's in an effective P2. Vettel P3. You've got Hamilton there in P4, so McLaren definitely have solved those issues. He's in P4. Ricciardo was then behind him. Then you got these kind of midfield teams, I guess you could say, that are kind of punching above their weights. You've got the Haas car, Mick Schumacher. You've got Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault. Then Max Verstappen, who I still think is definitely being hampered by Mercedes turning down his engine a little bit. And then you've got the Audi cars still struggling for pace in this Grand Prix. You got Sainz behind Verstappen, and then Perez here behind an Alfa Romeo. Actually, no, sorry, this is Sainz. It's Perez who's behind Verstappen. So actually, Sainz, the championship, the leading Audi car out of the two guys in the championship so far, is actually the one that's struggling the most here. Very surprising. And look at this, he's actually struggling to overtake the Alfa Romeo car in Sector 3, just showing how poor the chassis is, perhaps, here in Spain. Very surprising, but he tries to hang around the outside, but no, the Alfa Romeo actually keeps it through. I can't tell if it's Foucault or Leclerc, but either one, props to them to keep the Audi car at bay there. But by lap 22 then, we're finally going to make this pit stop now. So I wanted to stretch it maybe a little bit longer, but I just couldn't go any more. My tyres were really feeling second hand. So we're coming into the pits now for our final pit stop, I think this will be. But yeah, very interesting. The Audis are getting caught up. You've got Perez behind the Verstappen there. Then you've got a few cars with Magnussen. And then you've got Sainz unable to overtake an Alfa Romeo. Very, very surprising. But anyway, we've made that pit stop now. Onto another set of medium tyres. So we're going to completely ignore the soft tyre in this entire Grand Prix. We've got medium, hard, and then another set of mediums here. You can see as we come out of the pits, we've got Mick Schumacher battling Hülkenberg. Looks like Hülkenberg has actually made a move on the Force Indy car, and he's got up the position up into what will be 7th place there, as then Schumacher finds himself in 8th, and we've come out in 9th after that pit stop. So it's interesting position to be in. I'm sort of hoping that some other people are yet to make their pit stops. If not, we've got to get a move on here and try and overtake these two cars as quickly as possible. And by lap 23 in the middle of it, we're right behind Schumacher with DRS wide open. He's got DRS off Hülkenberg, but that doesn't matter to us. We'll send it down the inside. He's on hard tyres. He's been on those tyres for a while now, so we will have the better grip. Down the inside, very easy move actually in hindsight. And we're up into 8th place, and now immediately on the back of Hülkenberg perhaps in Sector 3. Maybe we can get a good enough exit off the chicane to make a move on the pit straight, I wonder. But up ahead, we've got Hamilton going pretty damn fast, setting the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So he was in, remember, in P5 behind the Ferrari car, both Ferrari cars and both Red Bull cars, after McLaren fixed that issue with his deployment. So Hamilton now seemingly has all the pace in the world to maybe catch up to the top 4. So maybe quite spicy towards the end here. But here we go, making the move on Hülkenberg with DRS on towards lap 24, up into P7 now. My lucky number there, my car number in fact. And so now can we try and chase after Romain Grosjean? That will be the hope. But actually, as we move on to the end of that same lap, lap 24, we actually get a horrible exit off the final corner. And it hasn't been a great lap for us, really, in reality, because Hülkenberg comes back at us on with the DRS, and he makes the move. He's back into 7th place, so we have to try and re-overtake him now as we swing through turn 1. Now turn 3. Can we try and size up this move? Getting very, very close to his rear tyre and gearbox, but we've got the line now down the inside of one. They can just send it down the inside, dive it down the inside, and get this at the apex. A little bit of a lock-up, that's fine, and we'll keep it on the inside line. But look at that, he's actually got good enough traction and grip to keep it around the outside. So we go a little bit wider again, taking a deeper cut line, and there we go. Bang, straight away off the corner. Great traction, and that's exactly what I was talking about before, about you take that deeper line, you cut back even tighter, and you just get so much drive off that corner. It's ridiculous. So he overtook Hülkenberg really nicely there. And now as we move on to lap 26 now, so a couple of laps later, up ahead in the lead pack, you've now got Hamilton, who's overtaken Gasly previously, but Gasly comes back at him. Brilliant little move down the inside in the same place I tried to make the move on Hülkenberg, and Gasly makes it work. Great move from Gasly there to overtake Hamilton. So I think that is Ricciardo right behind them. It might be Vettel. I can't quite tell by the two helmets being a little bit similar from that distance of the camera. But a great move from Gasly to re-overtake Hamilton, because seemingly Hamilton overtook both the Ferrari and Red Bull at some stage, probably when he set that fast after the Grand Prix, I would imagine, before, because he was in P5 before, but it looks like he's now fighting for P3 effectively. But now on to lap 27 on the pit straight, making the move on Grosjean with DRS, and so now this is more like it, up into P6, decent position this will be in this race if we finish like this, but we'll try and see if we can push on. Ricciardo on the hard tyres, worn out hard tyres on in P5. And now getting back to this top scrap fight between Hamilton and Gasly as we move on to lap 28 for them, and Hamilton with DRS making another move to re-overtake Pierre Gasly for what will be P2 in this Grand Prix so far, because that is indeed Vettel behind them struggling to keep up. So you've got Giovinazzi leading the way still in this Grand Prix out ahead. The Italian has been leading since his pole position, really. He's been doing a fabulous job out in front on the hard tyres there. And then you've got Hamilton second place now, Gasly in P3, and then Vettel in P4, and then obviously Ricciardo that we're trying to chase down in P5. But down the order on lap 29 as we cross the line, this is Sergio Perez, still struggling to really make an impact on this Grand Prix completely. He's trying to overtake Schumacher and/or Hulkenberg, but they go side by side. They're having their own little squabble here. And so Perez caught up in the air, and so much so that now Verstappen's coming back at them. And then later down the order, we've got Sainz, I think this is, and he's got Van Dorn for company, and then Magnussen behind him, probably around, I think, edge of the points, I think around P11, P12, I would say. But we move on to lap 30. We're still in P6, but the big thing is tyre wear is becoming a big issue. At the moment, you can see 71% that was. Briefly, I showed you on the right there. Apologies, but briefly, you could have seen. You paused the video maybe. 71% on that left front. It's getting to crunch time a little bit. We've got 3 laps to go, including this one. It's going to get a little bit sketchy, and I'm starting to worry a little bit. We're on 72% there. Not too great on the other tyres as well. The tyre wear really has been quite surprisingly bad here at Spain for everyone, really. And so it's really a case of, I think I'm going to have to give up on trying to overtake Ricciardo and catch him up. And really, I think it's now about surviving the end of this race and keeping ahead of Grosjean and keeping this P6, because we've got about 2.5 laps to go now. And once you get to about 80%, that's when the game tells you it's in a region where you can puncture the tyre. So yeah, just fingers crossed for now, but I'll keep you updated on that. But we move back to this top fight on lap 31. This is Giovinazzi, and he's coming to the pits. Antonio Giovinazzi is pitting from the lead of this Grand Prix. He can't go the distance on his hard tyres. I did mention the tyre wear has been crazily bad this Grand Prix for everyone involved in this Grand Prix, and so Giovinazzi can't hack it. So Red Bull pit in there with 2 laps to go, and that means Gasly leads the Grand Prix for a second before Hamilton makes a move with DRS. This is for the lead of the Grand Prix. So Hamilton, from firstly being down in P15 with electrical problem earlier on the Grand Prix, and then getting some luck with the safety car, has come all the way back and swung back into the lead of this Grand Prix. What a fairy tale story that is for Hamilton. So it's Hamilton from Gasly, the 2 Ferrari cars. Then Giovinazzi slots in P5 now. And you can see here we are trying to keep Grosjean at bay. Hulkenberg closing up on us. And then Audi have to make a last minute pit stop. So calamities for Audi there. Perez, who was in the points, I think, has now made a late pit stop, the same as Giovinazzi, and has had to make that, and he can't take it to the end, so he's on soft tyres now for the last 2 laps of the Grand Prix. Calamities for him. Moving back to our POV, you can see our front left tyre is literally basically on fire at this point, 85% wear, and so I'm so worried about a last lap puncher at this stage. I'm going so tentatively. You can just see if I just quieten up a little bit, you can just hear in the corners, I just really lifting, not really putting that much force into the pedal, just trying to keep this, just let the car roll through essentially. If I can not even have to put the throttle on, just let the car just roll through naturally, it's just going to help that little bit. But you can see Grosjean is right up my chuff, right up the gearbox, and by the last sector this is going to get very tricky, I think, as we go through the high-speed chicane. Not really at any high speed really, 4th gear lifting off completely. Really tentative, especially through this right-hander where the left tyre gets punished so much there. And on the exit, that's exactly where Grosjean, look at this, he's going to try and make the move for a late P6. This will be for Romain Grosjean. We keep it down the inside. We make sure not to lock up, because a lock-up could make the puncher to happen straight away. 91% wear. Grosjean still keeps his nose down the inside, so he forces me wide there. My team have got the message there, you can see on the right-hand side, for the indicator that it's really fine at the moment for a puncher. Lewis Hamilton has won this Spanish Grand Prix, but it's not over for us. We just about make it and squeeze Grosjean out, and Hulkenberg in the last minute, last dying embers of this race, has overtaken him for P7. We're just about to come across for P6 in this Grand Prix, and that ends off a thrilling Spanish Grand Prix, a very tense one for us at the end there, and I cannot believe we did not get a puncher. I am so happy with that. Unbelievable. Lewis Hamilton wins this Grand Prix. At one point, he was P15 and struggling with electrical deployment. Brilliant job from Hamilton. P1, Gasly P2. Vettel gets a great podium for Ferrari, 3rd place. And Ferrari, such a strong finish here in Spain. I mean, they looked better in the rain, but I didn't think it could carry over to the dry race. But Vettel and Ricciardo, P3 and P4. Giovinazzi, unfortunate for him. To be honest, I think he's been gypped out of a race win. I think he probably deserved that win, really. Even though Hamilton drove really brilliantly, Giovinazzi, up until the pit stop, was leading the Grand Prix the entire way and had it on control. So, unfortunate for him, P5. But a great job for us to just about keep him P6. And then you got a mixed bag of Hulkenberg, Mick Schumacher doing a great job. Van Dorn, our teammate, just about doesn't make the points there in P11. And it's a non-scoring Grand Prix for both Audis. Perez and Sainz down the order, P18, P19. I think both of them had to make an extra pit stop at the end there, three stopper for Perez and Sainz. So both of them unable to make the tyres last. So a very big race for the championship, because it means Hamilton, very surprisingly, swings right back into this and into the lead of the championship by quite a few points here. 74 to my 66. Sainz obviously scoring no points, 3rd place. Verline, no points, 4th place. Verstappen jumps up into 5th there, and Van Dorn in 6th place. Perez down the order, 44 points, no points scored for him in 7th place. Vettel jumps up the order with 35 now, overtaking Magnussen by 2 points for P8. Giovinazzi and Gasly climb up the order, 10 and 11, and then Ricciardo rounds up the top 12. Schumacher bumped down out of the top 12 for the first time. Obviously, it's getting a bit more competitive now. Red Bull and Ferrari are slowly come back into this. Probably more so Red Bull than Ferrari, you would say. But Ferrari, remember, there are rumours that Ferrari are going to bring an entirely new B-Spec car for the Italian Grand Prix. So we'll have to see about that. But in the Constructors, it actually means, surprisingly, that Jaguar, our team, my team, still lead the way, actually, in P1. Mercedes in P2, McLaren P3 now, and Audi moved down to 4th place. You wouldn't have put money on Audi being in P4 by this point in the season if you look back at pre-season and how they did in the first race. That is so surprising, and really, it's a crisis for Audi right now at this point in time. P4, with the engine they've got, they've really got to kind of get their heads together and get this championship by the scruff of the neck and get it back with them. But if you did enjoy that episode, guys, smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in comments below. If you're new around to then do subscribe for weekly F1 content. I've been Araba. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.